Wake up, Sparkles, because you are magnificent. And by the way, that's not just a suggestion or kind words or a compliment to you. It's an actual strategy, a process, if you will, to assist you in going further, faster in your life and whatever it is that you do, to help you be, do, and have more, and be even more magnificent than you already are. Don't believe me? Just watch. So if you've been around me for any length of time, you know a couple things about me. Number one, I'm always using that word magnificent and magnificence. As a matter of fact, my saying is, life is exactly what you dare to make it, and fortune favors the bold, so dare to be magnificent. But I don't just say it because it's a great word. I say it because there's not only meaning behind it, and it's not only just something to strive for, but it's a process that you can do. And if you've been around me for any length of time, you know that everything that I do and everything that I talk to you about has a strategy and has steps and is meant to get an outcome, to get a result for you. So somewhere along the line in this video, I'm going to give you something to do. And as you do it, I'm not going to say if you do it, but as you do it, you'll start to develop something different inside of you, which is what you want. It's to go further, faster. You know what I always ask people, do you want what you want sooner rather than later? And the answer is always a resounding yes, but most people don't know how to do it. And that's what I'm here for, if you will. And so let's start off where I always start off whenever I start off with a new word or a topic or subject like that. And that is, what is it? What is magnificence? What is it to be magnificent? What does the word mean? And again, you can go look it up and you can find a bunch of different meanings for it. But I'm going to give you mine so that you and I can be on the same page. And by the way, I encourage you to grab a pad and paper, something you can take some notes, because this, again, is going to be fire. It's what I do all up in here. And so magnificent to me means this: to magnify the essence of something. Magnificence, magnify the essence of something. Magnify something that's already there inside somebody. Magnificence means, and by the way, it's just a feeling, it's just an emotion that we have. To be magnificent is to feel like you're on top of the world, to feel like you can do something, to feel like you do deserve to do something, or to have something, or to be something. It's just an emotion that we come down to. Magnificence is also a state of being of something else. If you look at a piece of artwork or something and you go, that is magnificent, and you're looking at the essence of that, what that thing is. But when it comes to human beings, when it comes to psychology, if you will, what I always think about it is this: that human beings, we all have the same stuff. We're all made of the same stuff. As a matter of fact, everything on the planet is made of the same stuff. You may have heard me talk about this before, but it's really, really simple. Really simple, basic logic, if you will, and basic philosophy and basic physics. And that is this: that everything on the planet and everything that you know, even the air that we breathe that you can't see, the wind that blows, everything is made up of at least these three things: protons, neutrons, and wait for it, electrons. Electricity. Everything is made of electricity. You are, every cell in your body, every atom, every molecule in your body moves, and the physics behind it is electricity. And so that is the essence of who you are. And again, I always kind of go back to the basics, if you will, and that is this: what made you who you are right now is your papa gave a little bit of his electricity, and your mama gave a little bit of her electricity in terms of a sperm and an egg. And when those got together, what happened? They increased electricity, and each cell started to grow and grow and grow, and here you are right now. Inside you, every cell that you have, every cell generates electricity. And you have something called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Let's just say what that is just a little factory inside every single cell that generates electricity. I say, that electricity is life. Electricity is life. When something is dead, it has low electricity, it has no electricity. But with you, the more electricity you have, the more of the essence of electricity that you have in you. Guess what? Several things happen. Number one, you feel better, you have more energy. Number two, you become more of you radiate it. It's called electromagnetic energy, and you radiate it. And if you don't believe me, you can look it up. You can go check out Carillion photography. And when a person is excited, or a person puts their attention and their intention on somebody or something else, your cells create more energy and electricity, and you can actually take a picture of it. It's called Kirlian photography. And that is the essence of who you are. And so inside you, if you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm not magnificent, I'm just a normal person. No, you already are. The essence in you is electricity. And I know this is basic and I know this is simple, but what I want you to get is the outcome of this is to help you not just generate it in the moment and not just to be it in the moment, but to make it so that it becomes automatic. That's how you become more magnificent. And I'm going to give you a strategy, because I started off, I said, wake up. And I'm going to show you how to wake up and how to start the process so that it's kind of a snowball, geometric growing process that goes throughout your day, that you feel better and you start to go, well, wait a minute, and you start to notice things around. I didn't mention one thing. I said, number one, you feel better, okay, because you generate more electricity. Number two, you generate more of this electromagnetic field around, and that electromagnetic field is magnetic. Matter of fact, I did a whole other video on this before, and that is about the process of magnetism. It's part of my 60-20-20 rule. 60% psychology, 20% energy or electricity, and 20% magnetism. Whatever you want in your life, it's not about you just attracting stuff into your life. It's about you becoming a magnet and magnetizing whatever it is that you want to make happen in your life. And so that happens with your electricity. That happens when you magnify the essence inside. You starting to get it? I know you are. And so what happens is this, is that when human beings, when we think, it causes an electrical and chemical storm to go off inside of our bodies. Thinking is just a process of let's just say neural associations. It's just, look at it as like wires connecting inside one part of your brain to another part of your brain, from the front part of your brain to the back part to the side and all around and things like that. And all it is electrical current going through. I mean, when you think about it, you've seen those pictures where they hook, what do they call them, electrodes to people's heads and so on and so forth, and a little cap and so on. What are they measuring? They're measuring electricity. They're measuring the flow of electricity. And that flow will tell them, how this person is thinking, what they're thinking, and what's going on. But that flow is all determined and it's regulated by what you focus on and what you say to yourself. That's it. That's all we're doing all day long. The pictures that we're making in our minds and the words that we're saying to ourselves. Now, the challenge with most of us is we're unconscious about it. We're not always thinking, we're not always aware of what we're thinking. And as a matter of fact, as much as 75% of all of the thoughts that you have every day are unconscious. And things that are going on around that you're registering. You don't know that you're thinking about, the temperature that's going on, and your brain is doing all of those things, and it's sending out electrical signals. There's a chemical and electrical storm going on all the time. The electrical storm, that's the easy part. The chemical part, I say chemical, I should say hormonal, because hormones are just substances that our brain and our glands and our bodies release that cause us to, wait for it, feel a certain way. And here's what I mean by that. When you're excited about something, when you're thinking about seeing, that special person, or you're thinking about going somewhere and doing something that you enjoy doing, skiing or riding your motorcycle or whatever it is, when you're thinking about that and you're happy about that, then guess what? Your body releases hormones, endorphins and dopamines and things like that make you feel good and keep you feeling good. As long as you're thinking about that, then you're feeling good. And if you're feeling good, then guess what? More electricity, more of that essence that's going out, and you ever notice that when you're happy, what do they say? Time flies when you're having fun. And time doesn't really change, but it feels like it does, doesn't it? Because you're having fun, because you're excited about stuff like that. Conversely, if you're thinking negative, or if you're worried about something, or if you're stressed about something, or if you're doubting something, or if you're upset, if you're angry, the exact opposite happens. There's still electricity being created, but it's a different type of electricity, and it's smaller electricity. And matter of fact, when you look on Kirlian photography, you'll see that sphere that's around you, or that glow that's around you, gets compressed. It gets less. You're less magnetic, and you feel bad. You feel worse. And if you feel worse, then you don't do as well. And if you don't do as well, then you won't have. So I always say, you might want to write this down. It's think, feel, do, have. And what that means is this: whatever you think causes that electrical storm to go off inside of you, and that chemical to go off inside of you. If If you're thinking good, it's endorphins and dopamines and all kinds of things like that. If you're thinking bad, then it is cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and adrenaline, and all those things that make you feel bad. And guess what? Whatever you feel like you're going to do, if you feel bad, you're probably going to procrastinate. You know, I always say this: procrastination, hesitation, fear of failure, fear of success, self-doubt, self-loathing, and even imposter syndrome. Those are the thieves of our dreams. And that's not just a romantic saying or a positive thinking saying, it truly is. Because what happens is we stop dreaming. And what is a dream? A dream is just a vision. It's just a picture and words that you're making in your mind. When you doubt and you're going through all those things, fear and upset and all that stuff, it closes that stuff off, and it causes us to have, just on the other side of it, nightmares, if you will. And those are undesirable dreams. And along with that comes a feeling, if you feel bad, then you won't do as well as you could. And so obviously the outcome for all of us are to help ourselves automatically default to feeling good, automatically default to having that electrical and chemical storm, hormonal storm going off at its highest level as much as possible. It's never going to be all the time. Nobody is all the time. But you can regulate it so it is most of the time. You know people, and maybe you're one of them. I'm one of them that seems to be happy all the time, or most of the time. You see that person. You can see it in their faces. You can see it in the smile in their eyes. You know, you can hear it in the way that they talk, the things that they do. And those are generally the same types of people that you notice that seem to be luckier than other people. The ball seems to bounce in their favor more. They seem to have more and do more, or they seem to be happier with what they have. They seem to be more calm, and in general, they seem to be happy. Several years ago, I wrote a book, matter of fact, right back there, called Get Happy Now. And in it, we did a lot of research, a lot of scientific study to notice, and we noticed that happier people are healthier people. Happier people live longer. Happier people do more. Happier people, no matter where they are in their life, whenever they go after something, they tend to achieve it quicker, easier, faster than people that are unhappy. And I'm just here to tell you that happier people generate more electricity, the essence of who they are. Why am I saying all that? Because inside of you, remember in the beginning I said, wake up, sparkles. Inside of you, when I say sparkles, I mean inside of you. Let's look at it. There's this spark. There's this sparkle that's going off. And every cell inside of you is waiting to be charged and to be given instruction to bluster, to emit more electricity. And again, that cascading effect of electricity that goes off. So magnificence. And so last thing I want to say is this, or last thing I want to say about that is this, is that outside influences have a great deal to do. They have such a big influence on what we feel on not only our day-to-day and our moment-to-moment, but it conditions us to feel a certain way. Said differently, outside influences like, let's just say, the news or media or, I shouldn't say well-meaning friends, or, people that are, what do they call them, toxic relationships and people like that. We get influenced all the time. We get influenced in ways that we don't even know we're being influenced. Television, don't get me started on that. Television is designed to keep you doing these things. I was going to say two, but there's several more. One of them is just to keep you watching that screen. Years ago, I was hired. I can't tell you the name of the company because I always sign a non-disclosure agreement with them. But anyway, I was hired by a very well-known television company. That's all I'm going to cover. And they were kind of in their infancy. But before, they were doing, I think they call it syndicated programming. What that means is that they buy programs from the people, the creators of the programs that are other TV shows like sitcoms and things like that, and they run them on this on their station. Now this was back when cable was kind of new. Actually, it was starting to fade out before things, the internet started to be the way that it is right now. And anyway, they hired me because they were starting to move into doing their own programming and creating their own shows. And so they hired me to study what the other shows and the other programming, to study what they do that causes people to continue to watch their shows, why these shows are so popular. And so that's what I did. And another subject later, I came up with, there are 12 main, what I call markers, that cause people to continue to do that one thing, the first thing that they're designed to do, which is to keep you watching the screen. And I honestly, I think it's a little sinister sometimes. And when I say television, now it's synonymous with the, your probably maybe what you're watching me on right now, your cell phone or your iPad and things like that. And recently, we've seen things like Facebook and the likes that have shown that they know what they're doing in terms of influencing you. And I'm not going to say that it's all bad, but I am going to say that it is designed to keep you doing that one thing, watching that screen, keeping you there. An example of that, real simple, is it's one of the markers is something called a cliffhanger. And you're all familiar with the cliffhanger, and that is when they go. It's like on like one of those competition shows. I can't mention the names of them, but they say, okay, there's a couple number one, couple number two, couple number three, couple number four, and one couple is going home tonight, and so the judges have all voted. And so couple number, and then they wait for a moment. And while they're waiting, guess what's happening to you? You're going, what? What are you doing? You're keeping watching that screen. And then they go, okay, the person that's safe, or the couple that's safe is couple number three. And couple number three celebrates everything. And you go, okay. And they go, the next couple that's safe is couple number, and they wait, and blah, 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 and you're going, and you keep watching that screen. And inside you, there's a chemical storm and electrical storm going on that says, I gotta have this, and you gotta keep focusing on that. You know what I'm talking about. And they get down to the last two couples, and then they go, the couple that's going home tonight, the couple that has the lowest amount of votes, the couple that has worked very hard, but this is the end of the road for them. The couple that has to pack their bags and leave tonight, and they stretch it out. You know what I'm doing, is the music builds up, gonna be revealed right after this message, and then they go to commercial. And what happens when you go to commercial? You go, okay, you gotta stay there. But then the commercial takes over. And the commercial goes through the same things. There's cliffhangers in there, and there's all kinds of other things in there that anchor you, that keep you watching the screen. So that's the number one thing is to keep you doing, is watching screen. The other thing is to keep you so that you see the advertisements, so you buy the products. Because if you buy the products, then the advertisers keep on advertising on that station. The third thing that they do is to keep you watching the screen on and on. So you know what I'm talking about. So the reason I say that is we have so much distraction, we have so much outside influence, that we are the way that we are as a result of all of the influences that we've had throughout our lives. And so the trick to it is, and by the way, you no matter whatever your age is right now, whether you're 15, 16, or 60 or 70 years old, you've had your whole life to get you to where you are right now and the way that you are right now, which is magnificent. And it's not going to take you your whole life to change that. That's the great part about it. And so, given all of that stuff right there, that you're influenced and you're distracted a lot, or we are distracted a lot, what do you do about it? How do we change it? How do we become more magnificent? Well, I'm going to give you such a ridiculously simple strategy. And as I said, I got a bunch of them. And this is what I do, is I help people go from point A to point B, because I want you to be more magnificent, and so do you. So now that you understand what magnificence is, and now that you understand, where it comes from, and now that you understand how it's generated, and now that you understand it's whatever you're thinking about in the moment that causes you to feel a certain way, that causes you to do certain things, that causes you to have things. Think better, you'll feel better. Feel better, you'll do better. Do better, you'll have better. Simple math, simple basic philosophy, basic human dynamics, basic what I call human physics. Okay, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And so, where should you start? Start in the morning, when you wake up. That's right. That's why I started it off that way. Remember I said, everything that I do has a reason and a purpose. I'm sneaky like that. But again, the outcome is to condition you so that you automatically catch yourself defaulting and feeling better and feeling more magnificent. And let's just say that in this case right now, let's simplify it. Magnificence is just feeling better so that we get that chemical and electrical storm going on in this place right now, because that's what's going to make you doom and have more. And so here's the challenge with most people. Most of us wake up in the morning after, sleeping several hours, and, whatever kind of dreams that you had or whatever kind of sleep that you had, most of us wake up tired. Most people wake up to an alarm clock, and I'm not knocking it. There's nothing wrong with this. Nothing wrong with it. We wake up tired, and we wake up, groggy and all those things, and we don't want to get out of bed. And if you're anything like me, I hate cold weather. I hate waking up and getting out when it's cold out. So I remember there was times that I would lay in bed and just say, okay, 5 minutes, I'm going to get up. Because most people, and I'd wake up to an alarm clock and I'd hit that snooze. And then the snooze would go off and I go, ah, and I'd hit it again. I'd hit it again. So pretty soon I'm out of time and I got to get up. And when I get up, then I'm rushing around and I don't feel good. I certainly don't feel magnificent. And so I want to give you a really quick and easy strategy that you can do so that you can wake up and start to feel magnificent right away. And that is this. It's so ridiculously simple. When you go to sleep at night, remember, the day tomorrow starts yesterday. Meaning whatever you do today starts and gets the ball going for tomorrow. So wake up in the morning, and I have one of these with me right now, but I always put one of these and I put a glass of water, or I'll put this water right next to my nightstand. And right on my nightstand. And so what I want you to do is you do the same thing. Put it there. Now here's what happens. When you go to sleep at night, go through your whole thing. After you've been sleeping for several hours, your body has been in repair mode. And it is pretty much, shut down, not shut down, but you're not conscious of what's going on. And all of the electricity and everything is generated, is going towards healing and repairing and all of those things, and their imagination in there. And so, again, most people don't sleep and wake up rested. But I'm going to show you how to wake up and get rested. And that is this. When that alarm goes off, and by the way, when you do this, you're not going to necessarily need an alarm after a few weeks of doing this. As soon as that alarm goes off, here's all I want you to do. I want you to drink that glass of water, at least 8 ounces of it. This is like 16, I think, or whatever. But drink it right down. Just sit up. I don't care if you got to drag yourself to it. Just drink it. All of it down. All of it at once. At least those 8 ounces. Because here's what's going to happen. First off, what is in water? Protons, neutrons, and electrons. Amongst, the H2O, hydrogen and oxygen and all those things. Electrons. And what does water do? Water conducts electricity. You ever seen, like in the spy movies or some, adventure movies, when the bad guy steps in the water and the good guy takes the lamp cord and pulls it loose and puts it in the water and it electrocutes the guy? It's because water is a conduit. It conducts electricity. And so it creates electricity. So when you drink it, guess what happens inside of you? You figured it out already. You start to become more electrified. Electricity, energy starts to go because you're getting the electrons from the water, but also the electricity inside of you is starting to go more. And remember, every cell has ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Every cell is waiting for ways to generate more electricity. Now, what you might not know is, first off, you do that. So that's the first thing that happens, is you start to, almost immediately, you start to wake up, you start to get more energy. Second thing that happens is you start to move, which I'm going to tell you what to do is you start to move. And what I do is I sit up in the bed, and by the way, even if you don't, here's what's going to happen to you. So anyway, I'll tell you about moving here in a second. But your muscles are what are called piezoelectric cells. I learned this from my dear friend and brilliant physician, Dr. Daniel Tennant. Brilliant guy, and you can go online, you can check about him. But anyway, your muscles are what are called piezoelectric cells, and those muscles are like batteries. And when you move them, they emit more electricity. They emit more energy. And so what happens is we start to breathe deeper. Our heart starts to beat faster because we've been sleeping. We got the water in us. The third thing that happens is this, is that you gotta get out of the bed because in a short amount of time, you gotta pee. You got to get out of the water. Your body's going to go, okay, we got to eliminate, all the water that's in us that we've been storing through the night, and you got to get out of bed. And then once you stand up, guess what? Piezoelectric cells, movement, electricity, and you're up and you're gone. And guess what happens? I'm going to give you something to do. In that moment, you're no longer sleepy. I dare you to try and go back to sleep after you drink a glass of water in the morning. I dare you. I promise you're not going to be able to do it. It's so ridiculously simple. This changed my life and changes the lives of millions of people now because I like to give this advice to everybody. So ridiculously simple. Remember, life is much simpler than we have been led to believe. And we've been led to believe by ourselves and outside influences as well. People say, I can't get up in the morning. I'm not a morning person. Well, that's you're leading yourself to believe that. So now, once you stand up, all I want you to do is go to the mirror in your bathroom, look yourself in the eyes, and say these words. Good morning. I love you. You are magnificent. I know what you might be thinking. This is just positive thinking, and this is just, that kind of thing. But the truth of the matter is, when you're in that state, remember what I said, when we are generating electricity, we're becoming a magnet, And when you're looking in the mirror, that person that's telling you that you love you gets imprinted in your brain unconsciously. It becomes one of your dominant thoughts because you've got the electricity comes, your belief in yourself. Remember what I said is that human beings, psychology is the biggest part of it. It's what makes us do. But psychology are just thoughts. The constant thoughts that we have about ourselves, other people, and the world around us. Those are our beliefs. And we're not always conscious of them. Like I said, 75% of the time, we don't know that we're thinking these things. We've been programmed to be that way. We are unprogramming that and putting a new program in. And the new program is this guy or this woman that looks exactly like you, sounds exactly like you, smells like you, acts like you, is looking you in the eyes with a smile on the face saying, I love you, you're magnificent. That gets imprinted in your brain. I've had so many people, and it brings tears to my eyes sometimes. A lady, I have an institute called the Neuro Encoding Institute, where I teach people how to do what I do. And a lady said to me, and I did a session with her, and just one coaching session, because I tell people, listen, I can change your life in one session, one coaching session. And so I did the session with her, and then I followed up with her. And I followed up, and in the I was following up with her. She goes, listen, one of her challenges was that she would beat herself up all the time, and she didn't feel good about herself, and she would doubt herself all the time. And she said, and I gave her a process, and this was one of them to do. And she said, all of a sudden, she said, I tried to feel bad because that's people try to test it, and she goes, I tried to feel bad, but then all of a sudden, I kept hearing this voice. And it put a smile on my face. And then my voice was just saying, I love you, you're magnificent. And so this exercise is so ridiculously simple, but this is how to make yourself be more magnificent, make yourself feel better. And remember, it all cascades. This is where wealthiness comes from. Wealthy means to be healthy, happy, and financially abundant. But for all three of those things, you have to do something. We have to do something. We can't just think about it and make it happen. We got to do something. But if we don't feel like doing it, if we don't feel magnificent, the chances of us are doing it get mitigated. And so this is going to increase the likelihood of you doing it. It's going to increase how you feel. Remember, all the way at the top, I said, I'm going to show you how to go further faster. I'm going to show you how to feel magnificent. And I'm going to show you how that this becomes automatic. Well, this is how you do it. Get up in the morning. Drink that glass of water. Set it on your nightstand before you do. Drink that glass of water. Now, I said this earlier, and I was going to tell you about one of the things that I do. And when I'm in the bed is I sit up. Once I drink that glass of water, I sit up and I always put a smile on my face because when you smile, it releases dopamine. And then I try to touch my toes. Why? Because when you stretch, that's why yoga and things like that are so great. Because what happens? When you stretch those muscles, those piezoelectric cells, energy goes off. Simple, yeah? So do this exercise, do this process, and I promise you what will happen to you is you will feel better, you'll do more, you'll have more, and you'll be even more magnificent. And speaking of magnificent, there's a couple things that I have a magnificent gift for you. As a matter of fact, I have a free book for you. If you click below, this is yours totally free, and I want you to have it. It's something called Dare to Be Magnificent. And in it, there's 5 elements of the elements of magnificence. And some of the things that we talked about here today are in there as well. But there's exercise, there's processes that you can do. Because remember, my outcome is not just to teach you stuff. My outcome is to give you stuff to do so that you get a result. So click on the link and get that. And please remember to subscribe and ring the bell, so notifications so that when we put up a new video, it comes as well. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I want to thank you. I appreciate your time, and I want to thank you for your trust, your energy, and remember this, life is exactly what you dare to make it, and fortune favors the bold, baby. So the trick to life is to boldly step up and dare to make your life magnificent. I'll see you at the top.